Hello dear viewer, today I've got the first slate of Radiance Films releases for 2024. These are the January releases, 4 discs to talk about, and there's a lot of good stuff in here. Some real discoveries for me. In particular, one of these films absolutely stood out as, I think, a masterpiece. So without beating around the bush, let's just get into talking about these great films. First up, I want to talk about I, the Executioner. This is spy number 42 from Radiance, which is crazy to me that we've already had that many films, but it's been such a run so far. This is a Japanese film from 1968 from director Tai Kato. The film begins with this murder of a woman, and then subsequent murders occur, and these murders are all somehow linked to this suicide of a young boy, and we don't really know the relationship of these events, and that is what unfolds throughout the film. We actually follow the killer throughout this film, and this is a complex character, and the film itself is dealing with some themes that are rarely touched upon in cinema, and particularly from 1960s Japan. It's a real rarity to see this particular thing touched on, although I won't say much more because it would reveal too much about the film. Radiance describe it on the Obi strip here as being inspired by the likes of Hitchcock and Oshima, which are 2 references that I can completely see within this film. And it also shows some flourishes that you would later see in the likes of an Italian giallo movie. I think this one is a masterpiece. This is my pick of this month, so if you only pick one of these films to get, this would be my recommendation. It's stunning to look at. It's a swift 1.5 hour runtime. We also have some great features on the disc. There's an appreciation with Kenta Fukasaku, whose father is the very famous Kinji Fukasaku. There's a video essay on Japanese serial killers by Jim Harper and Tom Mez. And then if we look inside the case, there is a booklet here with a great piece from Tony Raines, who is an expert on Asian cinema. As always, if I take this disc out, you can see we've got some reversible artwork as well, so you can flip that to display if you'd like. I, the Executioner was an absolute knockout film for me, and I'm so glad that this Radiance disc has introduced me to this film because I think it is a masterpiece. Moving on to another Japanese release from Radiance, it's The Sting of Death from director Kohei Aguri. This is from 1990, and in this film, we look at this very stylized breakdown of a relationship between a man and a woman. They also have 2 children, and it's particularly the mother character in this story that we see being driven to insanity. Let me tell you that this film gets very dark and very depressing very quickly. I don't want to put you off the film. I think it is a great film. It is just not a cheery one in any regard. Although I will say, actually, in some of the moments, some of the choices by the actors or the director, I don't know who, actually bring out elements of comedy, almost absurdity, and it's quite peculiar because this is juxtaposed with the serious nature of the breakdown of this relationship and perhaps this woman losing her mind. I don't really know what to compare this film to. Stylistically, I can see a lot of what Kiyoshi Kurosawa would do later in the 90s and the early 2000s. But in terms of thematically, I mean, I guess you could link it to something like A Woman Under the Influence from Cassavetes, or, you know, Scenes from a Marriage from Bergman, or something like that. Kramer versus Kramer, I don't know. But nevertheless, a great film, and while it did make me feel a bit uncomfortable and a bit down after watching it, it was a great discovery from Radiance. In terms of special features, I want to point out one in particular. There is a great documentary on this revival of Japanese cinema in the 1990s, where they interviewed the likes of Aguri and Kurosawa, Kiyoshi Kurosawa, and Kaneto Shindo, etc. So many great people involved in Japanese filmmaking. Inside the case, you get another fantastic booklet and, again, some reversible artwork. So, The Sting of Death, a great release from Radiance, a difficult watch, but one that I'm actually very eager to revisit soon. Then we come to a new restoration of the film Goodbye and Amen. This is a film from Damiano Damiani, who Radiance released the Cosa Nostra box set from last year, which was excellent. This film is quite different in tone and perhaps theme to the ones that were in that previous box set. Here we follow the CIA agent who they were planning to overthrow this African government when one of the people that he works with decides to take this sniper rifle and start shooting people from the balcony of a hotel. This is a great thrill ride as the characters are trying to work out why has this sniper just started killing people for absolutely no reason, seemingly. It had me thinking of some other films which have this kind of idea in it, not necessarily thematically or stylistically linked, But there's that noir film, The Sniper, which has someone just sniping people on the street. There's, of course, the Luis Buñuel film, Phantom of the Liberty, where there's a guy just shooting people randomly on the street. So really great stuff in this film. I absolutely loved it. One thing that I loved in particular is there are some really cool design choices in the film, particularly with some costumes towards the end of the movie. I really appreciated all of that, but of course all the thrills and the performances, etc. On the disc you get a great commentary, there are some interviews with people who were involved with the film, and you have some writings in the booklet, and again, a reversible sleeve. Another great discovery from me from Radiance, highly recommended if you are in any way a fan of Italian cinema. And then we have another Italian film from Duccio Tessari. It's Death Occurred Last Night. This is one of the Raro video releases that Radiance is doing through their partner label program. I think this is a great thing that Radiance is doing, bringing some of these films to the market on these releases. But let's talk about the film from 1970. This is crazy and wild. The story follows this single father who has this daughter who is very attractive. She's very beautiful. Men just desire her, except she has the mind of a small child, like a 3-year-old, and her mind will never progress beyond that. She goes missing, and it's up to the father to try and find her, find out what's happened to her, and this investigation begins. If that short premise doesn't sell you on the film, then I don't know what will. The film is a real dissection of the process of investigating a case like this. It sort of moves in quite a slow and methodical way, but it does reveal a lot about these characters and the strengths and weaknesses of them, particularly the father, and what he's going through because his daughter is missing. I thought all of the performances in here were greatly enjoyable, but in particular Frank Wolf as the policeman who's investigating this. I've seen him in so many films and I think he's just a great character. On the disc there is a great feature about Milan as a central location for a lot of films in Italian cinema, and Milan is a place I love. I've been there twice, and I really need to go back and actually look up some of these locations where these films were shot. But yes, it's a great audio essay looking at the relevance of Milan in Italian genre cinema. Inside the case you do get a short 10-page booklet with an essay in there, and there is also reversible sleeve artwork if you want. So there we go, an excellent start to 2024 from Radiance. They remain, my favourite label at the moment. They're just doing everything right in terms of what I want from a label. If you want to pick any of these up, I'll include some purchasing links in the description below. Also head over to Radiance's website and check out all of their previous releases. And yeah, there's so much to discover from Radiance, so do go and check them out. Speaking of, if you want more Radiance recommendations from me, just click the video that's presented on screen right now. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.